All right, I will kind of monitor the chat and Q&A. So kind of as advertised, Coach Danielson here from Mason County Central is going to really take over the presentation here and kind of walk through some things that he has done for their kind of newer esports program to be successful in finding ways to, get some funds, get some equipment, get some resources to help support their program. And after talking with him, I was just really impressed with some kind of the simple things that they've done that have been successful. And that's a question that I field all the time in regards to, different ways to be able to financially support. A lot of you don't have a line item in your school budget or district budget. And so we're kind of doing everything we can to be able to get new equipment, to be able to expand, to start getting into streaming, to be able to offer more games and more titles and let more kids play to increase their capacity. So I'm going to let Coach Danielson take it away. And like I said, if you have questions along the way, you can put in the Q&A, put in the chat. You can raise your hand. We can unmute you. Tim, if that's okay, we'll kind of, if it's relevant to what you're talking about along the way, we can do that.
Sounds good to me.
I don't think this will take more than about 30 to 40 minutes, I'm guessing, and we'll hang out for some questions at the end. We do have a Google folder that has a handful of some resources that Coach supplied to kind of give you some examples with what type of language he used and kind of his strategy for reaching out and communicating with community partners, both local and from further away. So without further ado, Coach, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thanks for inviting me to speak today. I guess why I feel that I might be qualified to speak is that just very recently, my esports team picked up a global sponsor in Andeseat. They donated, or sponsor, I should say, our team with $10,000 worth of professional sports chairs and tables. So we actually now look like an actual esports team. And beyond that, we actually had DX Racer donate some chairs, and I've gotten a lot of success with local groups donating to us too. So I guess that's what makes me eligible to speak here today. And like I said, I'm just going to share some of my tips and tricks with you guys and see if I can figure out how to share my screen here. And okay. And Ryan, can you confirm that I'm on the opening slide here?
Yep, slide deck. Yep, you're good.
All right. So again, welcome to Esports, powering up your fundraising. A couple of pillars that I want to talk to you today about. Just some key points is, don't be afraid of or accepting being told no. It's going to happen. A lot of coaches ask, or a lot of times we think, would money be helpful for us, or are there specific products that we can go for? Give you some ideas for that. Give you some of the tips that have worked for me for contacting businesses and individuals, and then some pointers on being specific. And we'll get to more how specific we need to be in certain areas. So the first thing I just want to tell you about is just don't be afraid of the no. You will get a lot of them. Even if you get a 40% return rate on solicitations that come back to you with a no, that's actually an above average response rate. Most companies won't even respond to it at all. But I think of it this way. If you had $0 before you asked for donations and you end up with $0 after asking for donations, what's the worst that's going to happen? What have you lost? Maybe an afternoon worth of time or some postage. When I contacted Andeseat, I said that we did not have any gaming chairs or desks. If they said no, I still would not have had any gaming chairs or desks. So I would have lost nothing. This is a zero risk, potentially really high reward situation. A lot of times people have to wonder, or they say, so what do I need more? Do I need products, or do I need cash to buy what I need specifically? Some of you are lucky enough to have a budget line item already, and some schools have specific rules about getting equipment and product donations in. The biggest thing I can say to this is that businesses and companies are way, way more likely to donate product rather than money. If possible, I've tried to structure my solicitations, and I recommend you structure yours around products, and don't expect any money unless there's a specific fund or grant that says they award money. Most corporations actually have their calendars on a fiscal calendar. And since they have their budgets and their donation budgets on their fiscal calendar, their Q1 is October 1st. So their first quarter is October, November, December. Most local businesses that I've encountered follow a traditional yearly calendar with their first quarter beginning January 1st. So this has made October and November and January and February the best times I've had the best success in contacting people. Not that you can't get donations at other times of the year, but August or September, when school and the Fall Esports League are just starting up, are usually the worst time of the year to contact. I would just recommend you wait a couple of months and be one of the first groups to contact them in October. One thing I found relatively recently, actually after I made up my notes here, is that I've seen a big difference in where people donate from. What I mean by that is that a lot of US-based companies have actually told me no. And I've gotten a lot more success from overseas companies. Andyseats, I believe, world headquarters is in Guangzhou, China. DX Racer, I believe, is Japan. I don't know if that's a cultural thing, if foreign companies are more willing to do that. That just happens to be the success that I've had. Is that I've had actually a lot more success with overseas companies donating than I have U.S. domestic ones. If you decide that you need to ask for money, if that's what your club or team needs the most, always ask for the maximum amount allowed. If they say you can ask for up to so much, ask for the max, or 100% of your budget, the top end of whatever proposal you have. And then expect that you will not get it. Businesses like to share the wealth and spread their donation budget around to as many groups as possible. They almost always donate less of what one group asks for so that they can help multiple groups. Just using some arbitrary numbers and an example here, say you need $1,000 to purchase 2 best quality, high-end performance monitors, but you could get by with only $500 to purchase 2 of the minimum required performance monitors. Just ask for the $1,000. If they donate $500, you're already halfway to your max, or you at least already have your minimum covered. If you only ask them for the minimum and then they only donate $250, you only have half of what you need to cover the minimum. Yes, I just said this is a zero risk and high reward situation, and that $250 is more than the zero that you started with. But I found that when asking for money, you shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land in the stars somewhere. If you decide that your team could be better off asking for product to get equipped, I've found that you always ask for the minimum that you can get by with. Product donations from businesses are a corporate tax write-off to a school or 503c. I actually haven't even needed to provide my school's tax ID number to most of them. Let's see, since product donations make them look and feel good, they may provide more than your initial ask. When I asked Andyseat for 4 gaming chairs, we ended up with 14 gaming chairs and 4 gaming desks. I asked the local Ludington Beverage Company for 8 cases of Powerade, which is basically 1 case per week of the season. We ended up with 8 cases of Powerade, 4 cases of Mountain Dew, and 2 cases of water. And even just this morning, I actually am the advisor for a tabletop board gaming club, and I asked the company, happened to be an overseas one, for a sample or demo copy of just one of their games, just so we could try it out. And they actually ended up sending us their entire library of games that they have out on the market right now. So this may seem backwards to you, especially when you figure that businesses are much more likely to donate products that you could ask for more. I've had loads of success with this kind of humble approach and asking for the minimum product and giving companies the opportunity to be the hero. Last year when I started my tabletop board gaming club, I contacted several game manufacturers to ask for that sample or demo copy, and also asked if they had like an educator discount. And as of last month, the game club has over 100 companies that have donated to us with over $10,000 worth of games and gaming accessories. That includes dice, playmats, gaming books, and stuff like that. even with the shipping and handling that the school was asked to help cover, and the one set of books that we actually did buy, my tabletop club has only spent probably around $200. The rest has all been donations. Let's see here. Always, oops, I jumped ahead there. Always, oh no, I didn't. So some tips here. Always use your school email address when contacting companies, and have the donations mailed to your school. One thing that I just don't want to see anybody get burned with is that all product that comes in is school assets. So when our tech team comes through and they do the school assets at the end of the year, they're going to say, okay, and we got 14 gaming chairs and 4 gaming tables. Yeah, the esports team's using them, but they actually do belong to the school. If you use your personal name or some other informal email address, your name at Gmail, and provide your home address, you can pretty much guarantee yourself that companies will say no. I found it very helpful to have my administrator write a letter of support, and I did include some examples of that in the documents here that I can share with companies, and that helps them verify you as a legit team. A lot of clubs and groups are asking for donations, and there are a few bad people out there who do ruin it for legit clubs. So I found that having a non-editable PDF letter of support from your administrator or principal on school letterhead readily available will help add to the company's verification of your team. I'm going to try and switch tabs here real quick. I want to go to show you a website that was this next part here. Okay, Ryan, can you confirm that everybody's looking at Andaseed right now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I want to, let's see. When you are on a company website like Andaseed, we are here, for example, you will probably see a contact or support option. So like right here on Andaseed, they have a submit a ticket. I actually wouldn't recommend using that as a point of contact. If you scroll down to the bottom here, the very bottom of a homepage, again, under customer service, you'll probably see another option to submit a ticket. Again, I wouldn't use that. I would actually use the contact us and use this direct email address right here. In most cases, a lot of homepages do have that contact us link or an email address you can just click on or copy and paste. There will be some times, though, when you have to use the generic contact form located at the top of a page. But in my experience, however, I've just found that I get a much faster and usually a non-automated response if I use this contact us direct email link, typically found at the bottom of a homepage. And so again, this is just Andaseed. This is our big team sponsor that we just picked up. All right, so now I'm going to pop back over to the presentation. All right. So a big thing is just be specific. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's got to be specific in the, the good old questions from school, the who, what, when, where, and why. Be specific in your why. I've helped the Mason County Central Robotics and baseball teams with their solicitations and fundraising. Their initial letters were pretty much nothing more than, hi, I'm the robotics coach. Our budget is $10,000 this year. Please consider sponsoring us. And that was it. So you need to be specific in why do you have a need? Like, for example, in the fall, are you a new team just starting out? What percentage of your students are economically disadvantaged? Is your school in a rural community? Do you want to make capital improvements or expand? Do you want to add something? Do you have an underrepresented and undersupported demographic of students? Each club needs money and product, but why does yours? You need to be specific on why you have that need. You need to be specific in what you need. Be specific in your want. Do you need money specifically to pay for registration fees and transportation costs? Obviously, because we're all part of the MSHEL, we don't have to register to buy into the league, but be specific in why you or what you need. Do you need someone to sponsor a team with Powerade? Do you have a specific budget for streaming equipment? Do you need to upgrade your controllers? Did you have a monitor that's going bad? When I contacted Andaseed, I told them we were just using our hardback classroom chairs and classroom tables for our gaming setup. Then I showed them pictures. I said, this is what we're currently using. You need to demonstrate your needs and what any donations will go towards. Businesses need to know what the donations are going to and why. You also need to be specific in the who you contact. Do not just go soliciting everyone you can think of. You need to be strategic in your solicitations, and that will save you time and give you a higher success rate. And I found that you just don't contact any businesses that are less than 1 year old. If it's a brand new business in your area, less than a year old, they haven't turned a profit yet, let alone to set up any kind of donation budget. And also, everyone in town is already contacting them because they are a new business. I'm sure a lot of you know several loyal multi-year donors who faithfully donate to everything at your school. I can look in our gym right now and I'll see over 25 banners of business logos that sponsor our boys or girls basketball teams or wrestling, or some even sponsor all three of those sports. In a rural community, especially like where we're at, another school group contacting a business, asking them for more money might not be a good thing. I've seen sponsors stop donating altogether because yet another school group from the same school is asking for money. I've heard of sponsors say that they feel like they're being taken advantage of with everyone hitting them up for money. There are also some donors that only have a certain amount or a set amount of money available for school donations for the year, for your school or all schools in general, if it's a rural county. I'm sure they might donate some to you, but it might lessen the amount available for everyone else. I'm pretty sure no one wants a basketball coach who's mad at them because our team's got money, but then that means they get less in the fall next year. There's going to be some companies that it also really wouldn't make sense to contact. Like us, if you have a local landscaping business that has maintained your football field for the past 20 years, it probably wouldn't make sense to contact them. So you need to think creatively and out of the box. For us here, we have a local internet provider and / computer repair business and some other industries that are at least tangentially relatable to esports, somehow can connect to esports. Our local internet provider here is actually owned by an alumni of Mason County Central. I sent a letter last year asking for sponsorship for the robotics team, and he immediately replied and said that he's never been asked for any amount of donation and he wants to donate to his alma mater, and he gave $1,000. And he actually thanked us for contacting him. Said he's waiting to be asked. If there's a local convenience store whose owner's nephew plays Mario Kart, so the uncle's at least heard of the game, that's at least connected. That might be a great one to hit up for like Powerade or Gatorade or something. I've also had success with specific businesses for direct specific requests. We have a chiropractor down the road. I asked him for exactly $120 for 2 pro controllers. He ended up donating $200. A local dentist here who has a lot of employees and patients with kids that attend our school. I asked for exactly $150 for a new TV monitor. She donated $200. Let's see, the local credit union we have here. I sent them a detailed proposal with links to all the equipment that we need to start streaming our matches. They funded it 100% because I was just specific saying, here's exactly what we need, and they covered it. If you're needing money just to build up accounts, so you have a savings account for whatever you might need, you might actually find it helpful to suggest tiers of sponsorship. People do not have to think about it and can just check a box that might be more appealing to them. An example for solicitations for an esports team that plays Mario Kart, you could have a mushroom level sponsor of $250 that will help give your team a little boost. You could have a red shell level sponsor, $500, that will help you target in on your specific needs. Or the superstar level of sponsor of $1,000 will help you win your budgeting goals for the year. Of course, companies can and will donate less amounts, and that's awesome. However, you will find that without suggested levels of sponsorship, people will donate less. I've seen some groups and known people that only donate $100 year in and year out, but when they see an option to, I can check off just a $200 or $250, and that's the suggested minimum level, they just do it because they don't have to think about it, and we're telling them exactly what we need. And you also need to be specific in how. How will this donation impact your team? This is so important. I typically do this in both my initial solicitation letters and my thank you letters, telling them how their gift, their donation will affect my team. Every company that has money or product to donate will need to know how their donation is being used. If you cannot explain it to them in a way that they understand and that they can explain it to someone else, like a customer service rep can explain to the boss, they're not going to donate. When Andaseed sponsored us, I explained that beyond the ergonomic advantages of their furniture, my team has seen other schools with better equipment. And when we went to like fairs last year, and they see the equipment that's out there, and it kind of affected their morale. It's like, because we didn't feel like a real team because we didn't have the equipment. And now my guys are playing better because they know that their commitment to the team is appreciated and valued. And Andaseed knows that, this is why we needed this, because it helps us out. When I wrote a grant request for our jerseys last fall, I said that most of the members of my team had never been on a club or a group. They had nothing to belong to. Now they're proud to be a part of something. When I wrote a grant for our initial 2 monitors, I explained that playing in games on an overhead projector like we were caused significant lag issues, and that put us at a competitive disadvantage. I didn't have to get technical, just saying it was slower for us. But now the control response is correct, and there isn't the lag issues on our monitors, and the results of my team show it. When I contacted that local credit union with a specific request to fund the streaming equipment, I said that us being able to stream our matches will help improve our community support and allow us to compile highlight reels for my upperclassmen that may be seeking esports scholarships. You don't have to get technical and explain something that the sponsor may not understand. In addition to saying thank you, though, you got to also tell your sponsor how you're using the donation, how it's impacting your team. Sponsors that donate also want to feel good about the donation and know that it went to a good cause and is being put to good use. With regards to FERPA, which is basically it's the HIPAA for student pictures, if you don't know what that is, Andaseed and the grant committees that covered our jerseys and monitors requested pics of the equipment in use and us in our jerseys. I don't know if any of these pictures taken from my cell phone are ever going to make it onto the website, but that's not the point. I needed to tell and show my sponsors where their donation went and what it's being used for. So the big takeaways, going back to those pillars that I had on my first slide, don't get discouraged. Don't be disappointed by the no. It will happen. Just stay positive. You didn't really lose anything, and you're no worse off because of the no. Also remember that you are much, much more likely to get product donations over cash donations. And then really be specific in that why, what, and who of your solicitation requests. Be specific in how those donations are going to impact your team and your students. So that was basically the gist of my presentation, and I can be available for questions.
Thanks, Tim. I do want to point out, I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and I'll send this in the follow-up email as well. Here is a link to a Google Drive that Coach put the resources together for, and I can probably pull it up as well if you can see my screen. The slide deck is in here that you just saw. And then he does have like a sample letter just to kind of see the language talking about that being specific part, the why, right? The who, what, when, where, how, all that good stuff. There's some samples in there. And then also, and this was a really important part and one that I didn't think about before, because even back when I was a principal, no one really asked me for this when they were trying to get fundraisers and some sponsorships and partnerships, and they probably weren't very successful because I didn't think to include it, was the the administrator support information, right? So just to verify, like, this is legit, this is supported, this is going to a legit program that's in need. And so all of those samples to kind of get you started, please don't copy and paste it and send it to AndoSeat, by the way. But at least get you thinking about kind of the examples. Between you telling your own story, heck, using a little chat GPT if you're stuck and can't get very creative on how you want to word something. Put your own clever, unique spin on it. And hopefully that'll at least get you started in terms of, putting yourself out there. I thought it was really interesting what Tim shared, when thinking about product versus money. I probably was doing it backwards that whole time. And it does make sense now that you explain it, like why, um, you know, product, it's probably easier for them to get rid of product and move product than it is just straight up money, right? Because they're
Yeah, very much.
with certain models that they know are going to be outdated, right, for the next year, and it might be easier to move those. So that makes sense, right? Pat shared in the chat, that never thought to ask for products, been doing money requests. And I think, Pat, that's probably based on when you ask what was set in the budget. Most people, it's like, listen, this is our budget. They try to space it out throughout the year, and you get to a certain point, it's like, nope, sorry, that community partnerships budget is gone, or donations is gone, so yeah, I asked at the exact times Tim said not to ask. See, so I think it gets you thinking though, right? Think about timing and this, and I think about it too, right? I know for a fact it's like, man, the beginning of the school year when all the clubs start up, all the fall sports teams start up, all depending what size community you live in. I'm in a rural area, much like Tim is, so I think they feel the pressure. There's not that many to select from, but
Right.
there has to, don't go to the same car dealership that's already sponsoring the football team on the scoreboard, that's already doing this, that, think out, like you said, think outside the box and try and go to different places. I would ask your players like what their parents do for jobs and for a living, because some of them might work at an interesting place, and even if they're not high up or anything like that, they might say, hey, my own kid's playing on this team, and you guys want to, they parents might be able to help you out based on what their job is if they're at a place that normally doesn't get hit up. So I thought it really, really interesting. So please feel free. And if you want to raise your hand, if you have a question, I can unmute you, or you can ask in the chat in the Q&A. Dine out night, Pat said, usually you get a percentage of what gets the proceeds for the night. Yeah, that's a good idea. We do that at our local A&W does it quite a bit, and they have some pretty good success. Yeah, so thinking, different ways like that, if, and, then, the minimal support you might be getting financially from your principal or superintendent or district.
We actually have a Culver's up here in Ludington, and they do a dine out night. They ask though, I don't know if anybody's ever been to Culver's, but they have runners that run the meals from the restaurant out to the cars in the parking lot and stuff. And they just asked that I had members of my team be there with our jerseys,
Yeah.
and we were the runners for that night. And we got, I think it was only like $250, but it was $250 we didn't have for 3 hours of work on a Monday night. So
Yeah, that's great. Great. Any questions for Coach? Not seeing any. So like we said, it was only going to be about 30 to 40 minutes. So we're right on cue for that. So I will send out a follow-up email probably tomorrow, and I'll repost it. Video of this recording, I'll throw it up in the MHSEL YouTube channel. We'll get out that Google folder with the slide deck and resources in it. So really appreciate it, Tim, for putting this together. Exciting to see kind of those new things coming in to kind of support your program, take you to the next level. So hopefully people will be able to do the same. And anytime you guys get to do cool stuff in your room, please let me know about it. Whether you're a social media person or not, or if you're on our Discord channel, post it in there, email me, and I'll post it on your behalf. I love seeing upgrades to the rooms that people put up, get the LED lights and the fat heads and new chairs and desks and table, like I love seeing that stuff. So please let me know when you're able to do that, especially if you're able to do it from getting some success from doing some of these sponsorships and partnerships and donations. So that is our time, everybody. So thank you and good luck with your week. Let's see, week 5 matches this week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.